that defensive possession. Clark. Oh! From another stratosphere!
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, Tiffany Hayes has finally responded. Or honestly, maybe not really responded to this whole situation. And I've got to be real here. I'm disappointed. I'm genuinely disappointed with Tip Hayes on a human level because this entire thing has gone way beyond basketball at this point. Now, obviously, if you guys have been following this channel and you haven't been living under a rock, and you already know exactly what happened yesterday with Tip Hayes on Threads. And Threads has become a really weird place in the WNBA community. Let's just be honest about it. It's basically become this echo chamber where players can interact with fans in a way that honestly gets way too personal sometimes. And for a long time, nobody really questioned it because the league was smaller, the audience was smaller, the attention wasn't nearly what it is now. But then Caitlin Clark entered the league, the audience exploded, more people started paying attention, and suddenly people realized some of these players were interacting with some seriously unhinged individuals online. I'm not even going to go super deep into that side of it because everybody already knows how toxic social media can get. But there are absolutely people online who go way too far, and some of these players still interact with them like they're just normal fans. That's why a lot of players migrated over to Threads in the first place. It became a place where they could keep these parasocial relationships going without as much pushback. Now, let's get into the actual situation. The day after the Caitlin Clark and Tiffany Hayes matchup, and yes, I'm calling it a battle because it was intense and honestly entertaining basketball, there were already people online escalating things way too far. And look, I enjoyed the matchup. I was looking forward to the rematch. Physical basketball is fine, trash talk is fine, rivalries are fine. That's sports. But what isn't fine is when people start talking about violence. And under those posts, there were people making comments about injuring Caitlin Clark, sending goons after her, and all kinds of ridiculous nonsense. Now, to be fair, this isn't unique to one fan base. We saw the exact same type of behavior after Kennedy Carter fouled Caitlin Clark. Fever fans were online talking about Indiana needing enforcers and goons too. Social media always turns everything into extremes. Normally, this stuff just stays in the category of stupid internet behavior. But then, Tiffany Hayes responds with, LOL, I F with y'all. And here's the thing. Nobody can realistically pretend she only saw harmless comments supporting her. There were clearly comments escalating things. There were comments about her not crashing out. There were people basically implying she should have gone further physically against Caitlin Clark. Then somebody comments, I got some cousins we don't speak about the right at dawn upon my request. Just let me know. And Tiffany Hayes liked the comment and responded, that's real. Now again, most people probably understand that this was intended as a joke. I understand that too. But the issue is not whether most people understand it. The issue is that social media is filled with unstable people. And that's the reality nobody wants to talk about. Especially right now with Caitlin Clark, there are people online who have made hating her their entire personality. Especially on TikTok and Threads, there are people who genuinely think attacking Caitlin Clark somehow makes them activists or allies or morally superior. Allies to who? For what? Nobody even knows anymore. But these people exist. And it's not just one side either. There are crazy people all over the internet. Every fan base has them. Every sports community has them. But when you are a public figure with a massive platform, you have to understand that not everybody consuming your content is mentally stable. That's the point. Because Tiffany Hayes does not know who that commenter is. She has no idea whether that person is joking or whether they're genuinely unstable. And even if there's only a tiny chance somebody means something seriously, why engage with it at all? Especially when we are talking about Caitlin Clark, a player who has already dealt with documented stalking situations. This is not some imaginary scenario people are creating out of nowhere. This is a real issue. And whether you love Caitlin Clark or hate her, everybody knows there are extremists online obsessed with her. That's just reality now. All it takes is one person taking something the wrong way. That's why this stuff matters. And honestly, this applies beyond Tiffany Hayes, too. Athletes across all sports need to be more careful online because social media is not the same as it was 10 years ago. People are more extreme now. People are more obsessive now. And yes, I understand mistakes happen. We're all human. Anybody could accidentally like or respond to something stupid online. That part alone, honestly, wouldn't even be my biggest issue. The bigger issue is what happened afterward, because once the backlash started, instead of simply deleting the post and saying, "Didn't mean anything by it," Tiffany Hayes basically laughed the whole thing off, posting stuff like, "What y'all having for lunch?" while everybody was discussing the situation. And that's what bothers me, because at that point, it stops looking accidental and starts looking dismissive. Again, nobody was asking for some giant apology tour, but on a basic human level, if you realize people interpreted something badly, especially involving threats or violence, why not just remove it? Why keep it up? That's the part I genuinely don't understand. And yes, I know everything involving Caitlin Clark becomes amplified. We all know that. Every story involving Caitlin becomes 10 times bigger because she's the biggest star in women's basketball. But that doesn't mean every criticism is invalid. Some situations deserve criticism, and this is one of them, because there is legitimate concern here considering the documented stalking situations surrounding Caitlin Clark. This isn't just basketball drama anymore. This is about basic responsibility. And I keep asking the same question over and over again. Is it going to take a Monica Seles type incident before sports leagues finally take this stuff seriously? Because leagues love ignoring warning signs until something terrible happens. And again, I'm not saying Tiffany Hayes wants anything bad to happen to Caitlin Clark. I'm not saying that at all. I genuinely believe she probably viewed this as internet joking around. But public figures don't get the luxury of pretending every person online is rational. That's the problem. And honestly, if this involved another player instead of Caitlin Clark, I'd say the exact same thing. If somebody on the Indiana Fever did this toward Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, or anybody else, I'd still say it crossed the line. Because players across women's basketball deal with obsessive fans and stalkers now. Paige Beckers has dealt with it, Angel Reese has dealt with it, Caitlin Clark has dealt with it, Juju Watkins will probably deal with it too, because that's unfortunately what happens when athletes become huge celebrities in the social media era. And the WNBA honestly needs to address this entire culture of players building overly personal relationships with random fans online. Because most fans are normal, but it only takes one unstable person. That's literally the entire issue. And the scary part is that people online convince themselves they're helping. They convince themselves they're defending their favorite player. They convince themselves they're part of the athlete's inner circle because of constant online interactions. That's how parasocial relationships work. And leagues need to start understanding how dangerous that can become. Because eventually, somebody crosses the line. And again, I want to make this clear. I know most people online joke about stuff they'd never actually do in real life. I know that. But when you are a professional athlete with a giant platform, you still need to avoid publicly encouraging or validating that behavior. At minimum, Tiffany Hayes should have just deleted the interaction once people pointed it out. That should have been the easiest decision ever. Instead, it turned into blocking critics, laughing things off, and acting like everybody concerned was overreacting. And honestly, that's what changed my perspective on the situation. At first, I thought maybe it was just careless social media behavior. Now, it feels worse, because there was an opportunity to simply de-escalate everything, and instead, the opposite happened. And again, this goes beyond sports fandoms. There are genuinely unstable people online. That's reality, and pretending otherwise is irresponsible. So no, I don't think people are crazy for criticizing Tiffany Hayes here. I really don't. Because even if 99% of people know it was a joke, the problem is the remaining 1%. And if even a tiny fraction of that 1% is dangerous, that's already too much risk. That's why athletes need boundaries with fans online. That's why leagues need policies about this stuff. And honestly, if the WNBA doesn't address situations like this now, eventually they're going to regret it later. because social media culture around sports is getting more extreme every single year. And this situation should honestly be a wake-up call for everybody involved, not just Tiffany Hayes. Everybody. Tell me what you think. Don't forget, like and subscribe.